right, guys. So today, what we're going to do is a little bit different. We're going to do 6 tips on things that I wish that I knew before I started coding. Whether you're completely new or still figuring things out, these tips would have saved me years of developing. This is simple, honest, and my own opinion. All right. All right. So the first tip is don't learn 6 languages. Just learn one. Do something with one. Learn that language, problem solved. Beginners think they need Python, JavaScript, C++, whatever. So the real growth happens whenever you stick with one long enough to get comfortable. The languages doesn't matter, it's just the problem solving that does matter. You can build 10 tiny projects in one language or get stuck memorizing syntax forever, blah, blah, blah. So you just pick one and get absolutely dangerous with it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you 6 different languages that you can use and get started with. Let me open up a file here and let's just start out with the easiest one that I think, C++. Why not? This is how I used with Unity and different stuff. This is the first language that I actually learned along with Java, building a Minecraft uh, clones and everything else like that. So to get started with this, it's a little bit different than the other languages. All right, so that's a simple C++ kind of vibe. The next one is going to be a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is Java. This is the next one that I learned. I'm also going to name this hello.java. That way it's understanding of Java. We don't need any of this other stuff. All right, next one that we're going to learn is JavaScript. All right, this can be a little tricky, but I actually really like this one. Let's see. I'm also going to name this hello.javascript. All right, just like that. So now whenever we actually run that, it's going to combine hello, add the name, and then add the exclamation mark. It's super simple, but you kind of have to figure it out a little bit, right? So on to the next one. The next one is going to be Python. I don't really like Python just because I never actually went in depth with it, but I do have a um, simple code to go along with it. So now whenever this is ran, it's also going to do hello, insert name, and an exclamation mark. Isn't that cool? All right, so the next one that we have on the books is TypeScript. This one is very similar to JavaScript. So I'm also going to name this hello dot TypeScript, which is TS. That is TypeScript. The next one, this one is my favorite. I absolutely love this. It's C Sharp. All right, so we're also going to do hello.cs for C Sharp. All right, but the main thing that I suggest focusing on is one language. Like my personal favorite is C Sharp because I love using Unity and all that. All right, so with that being said, which one is your favorite? Which one do you like messing around with? All right. So the second thing I wish that I learned way earlier is that you should start building small projects immediately. And when I say small, I mean tiny, like embarrassingly tiny. A lot of beginners, including me, fall into this trap where we watch hours of tutorials and feel like we're learning, but in the moment we try to build something that's on our own, it's just brain rot. All right, so tutorials make things look easy because someone else has already solved those problems for you, so you're basically watching the highlight reel. But when you build something yourself, even super simple, that's when you actually learn how to think like a developer. Your first project doesn't need to be fancy. It could be a button that prints text, or a counter, or a to-do list with 3 items. Literally anything that you build from scratch that will give you the ultimate dopamine. So it sounds silly, but finishing even a tiny project gives you that confidence. You start connecting the dots and you start understanding your errors. You start making decisions instead of just copying steps. And the craziest part? You learn more from struggling through the small projects than you do from watching hours of tutorials. So don't wait for the perfect idea. Don't wait until you think you're quote unquote ready. Just build something small today. Even if it looks like trash, you'll be shocked how much it levels you up. All right, so now for tip number 3, we're going to talk about the errors. Errors are perfectly normal. And honestly, they're part of the job. As annoying as they are, but when I started coding, I thought every red message meant that I broke something permanently, but in reality, they're just hints telling you what's missing or what went wrong. And most of the time, the fix is super simple. Like for this one, you highlight over it and it's expected a semicolon. Perfect. Now, you can still run this, but it's not going to compile. I'm using Visual Studio Code. If you use Visual Studio and click run, it's not going to run, because there's hidden errors. That's the one that I wanted to get you on today. So with this one, it's an integer of score, but score has no integer value to associate. So whenever it's writing out the line, score is score, what is it? It's null. So you're going to add an integer number. It could be 0 to 100 to whatever. I'm just going to do 0 for this example. All right. So now the next one we're going to do is the string. The string name is equal to null, so console writes out name.length as null. That's not going to compile either. So what we need to do is to change null to something like low key coding, and that's going to output a number. Name.length shows how many characters are in said string. All right, this next one is a little bit different. So a list of integers as number is the local variable, and you're going to add a new list of an integer. But in order to do that, what we need to change is this right here, number.add1. So we're going to add 1 to the list of numbers, but the variables don't match up. So in order to fix that, you fix the typo, add the s back. All right, now whenever you run this, it's still not going to compile. Why? Because we're never using the system collection generic, right? So that's what you're going to need for the list. This is just a simple tutorial for C Sharp. I might do another tutorial for a different one, but that's definitely one of the things to talk about for the errors. All right, so keep practicing, keep perfecting, and just keep coding. All right. And so for tip number 4, please, for the love of God, stop copying and pasting code that you do not understand. Let me show you exactly what it looks like. So in here, I just copied a random calculator using C Sharp. So this is the kind of code beginners grab from forums, and on the surface it looks completely fine, but look at this. The variable x, console read line, how are you getting that? Right? And everything is in variable or var, so it just makes no sense. And then you just go down here to add nums, and there's just a random method that you didn't write, something you do not understand, but it looks official, so you trust it. And right here, int parse x and int parse y. So this code right here is going to break if you add something that is not a number. So this is the problem with copying code. You get something that works once, but breaks the moment you try to do anything different. And now you have no idea how to fix it. Now this is the version that actually makes sense that actually teaches you something. The variable names make sense. You know exactly what's happening at every step. Nothing is hidden, no magic methods, no mystery variables, just code that you can understand, edit, and improve. So copying code isn't bad, but copying it after you understand it, not instead of understanding it. So in tip number 5, I'm also going to combine it with tip number 6. All right, so with tip number 5, consistency beats talent every single time. When I started, I thought I needed these long, intense coding sessions, but honestly, coding for 5 to 10 minutes is way better than me trying to grind for hours at once. Think of it like this. Going to the gym, you don't need one big workout. You grow from showing up regularly. So you don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect schedule. Just show up. Even if it's just for a few minutes. That small habit builds those skills faster than burning yourself out. Now, with tip number 6, you don't need permission to start. You do not need permission to start coding. A lot of beginners think they need the perfect laptop, the perfect course, the perfect setup, someone to tell them when they're ready. But nobody's going to hand you a certificate saying, okay, now you can start. You learn by doing, by trying, and by messing up. Some of the best developers I know begin with nothing but curiosity and a stubborn mindset. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Start today. Start small. Definitely start messy, but start.